was talking to a dear friend of mine, that lady, and she's like this. She's like, where are the men? She's like, she's among the conservative women that are like, the women are out there doing the work, and it's like the men are being quiet because they're planning, sweetheart. She goes, okay.
All the men say the same thing. Just tell me to show up. Right. I mean, they all say the same thing. Is that the thing is that women are analog, and the left are analog, and the right is digital. It's a flip switch. The right comes, if the right flips its bit, it's just all over. Well, I don't want to, I mean, my inner voice says, kill them all, light them on fire.
Oh, Eli is the name of your inner voice. I have heard him speak.
It's my inner jerk, but realistically, I don't want any of that to happen.
No, it's the Genghis Khan methodology works. It does. It really does work.
It is really called, you don't come back. See, we didn't really we call the American Revolution a revolution, but it really wasn't. Because nothing changed, right? All we did was just a civil war. I mean, normal civil war. Yeah, all that happened is in a civil war is you want a change in power. That's all.
Our arrangements have been changed.
Right. And so, but what's different? We still have the same law.
It's a secession. It was a secession. So I'm going to call it a civil war, but a secession.
Right. And so,
which is what the South attempted to do and failed. Unfortunately, I suppose.
Unfortunately, it is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
But I think that was the end of the Republic, the old Republic.
Of course it was. It was, and we're still paying for it. Anyway, the point I was trying to make by saying is that revolutions are really bad things. Right. Secessions aren't. Civil wars necessarily aren't. But revolutions, when you've got to actually wipe out a caste and replace it, that usually creates disorder that you don't recover from. A revolution means you're going to wipe out a caste and the system of order that they put in place. A civil war is where you're just trying to replace the people in charge, right? All right. Or in other words, you're trying to get control. And a secession is just that you don't want to change anything except that you need to be able to generate your own.
You need to be able to be on your own.
Right. You need to
demand to be left alone.
The real reason people separate is because the set of commons they need to produce. In other words, it's what a government does. It produces commons, right? A state holds assets. A military makes it possible to have a state. A state contains assets. A government is a means by which you produce commons with those assets. And a citizenry is a bunch of shareholders. And then the people who aren't citizens are something else. They're children of various ages.
Yes, right.
So when you're in that sort of position, the reason you have secession is, I don't have any problem with any of these rules. I have a problem with I can't produce what I want. Alberta needs to secede from Canada because it's in its interests, its people's interests, because Alberta has more in common with the plain states of America.
Right.
Newfoundland's only been part of Canada for, I don't know, not very long. I should know this. I don't.
50 years.
It's like
70 years.
It's there. It's not coming out, but yeah. And I'm like, well, they should be there. They should be their own country or join up with Maine, which is where half of Maine is from.
Yeah.
So my ancestors included in Maine. So you have to separate insurrection, which is a demand for change, secession, which is I want to be able to generate my own commons, civil war, which is where I want to replace the governing class, right? And revolution, which is where I want to replace the whole fucking thing. Revolutions just don't work out very well. I did a lot of research on revolutions. It turns out that, I mean, the French Revolution is everybody's example, right? And the American Revolution, they're the worst freaking examples to use, right?
That's interesting because it's like their names suggest similarity and they are not.
They're not at all.
That's like
And they're also really,
secession versus a true revolution.
right. And France has never come back from the French Revolution. It's never. It got Napoleon out of it. Napoleon was to Germany what the Byzantine Empire was to Rome, destroyed Europe the way the Byzantine Empire destroyed Roman Europe. So I mean, it's horrible. The French are horrible. They're still horrible today. It's an example. It's why France has such a chip on its shoulder,
Oh my.
right? Because they believe that they are something. They've always believed they're special. They're
Yes.
like, they're just women. French are manginas.
Yes.
So they're horrible. I mean, and so they're still trying. So what France does is they're trying to prevent the restoration of the Holy Roman Empire, which is Germany as the core of Europe, by allying with Russia against the core. Except the Germans and the Slavs, the Slavs, not the Russians, but the East European, they get along great together. Why? Because Germany's basically what developed Eastern Europe. And
Yeah.
Russia's what set it backward. And France is trying to ally with Russia to contain Germany, but Germany is what we need. France is authoritarian. And look at this clown. This guy's a clown. I mean, we got Biden. He's a clown, right?
Oh
But I
my
mean,
Lord.
it's that he's a clown
Oh.
because he's a clown. The French the French people since de Gaulle have all been clowns because they think they're just like Russians. They think they can restore the French Empire the way the Russians think they can restore the Russian Empire. Well, what we all want is the Germans and the Slavs, or the Central Europeans, to restore the Holy Roman Empire so that we can have a secure heart of Europe again. And the French can go their way, and Italy will incorporate it, and you'll have the French be the outliers like they were. Now, the only reason French was prosperous is because it's like Poland, it's the best piece of farm land on the continent. So Germany isn't.